from the Decade of Disrespect. That's Tough, doing a cover of Metallica's Seek and Destroy, Chris. A great cover there.
It is solid, very solid.
Nice jam session there with Stevie on lead vocal. And I thought that was an appropriate way to bring our good friend Stevie Rachelle on, because he's been doing a little bit of seeking and destroying himself this week or so. And hey, Stevie, welcome back to the show.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. I was going to say, when you first called, I kind of heard that in the background, and I was thinking, is that one of our old Tough songs? And I couldn't really make it out right away, but now that you just introduced it, I guess you were playing our live version of Seek and Destroy.
It was, and you did it well.
Nice. And I'll tell you, that was actually straight from the board at the Toy Tiger in Louisville, Kentucky in 1995.
Nice. Well, I was living in Louisville at the time when the Toy Tiger was open, but I did not catch that show.
It's actually a pretty good room. I mean, for a board tape, that sounds pretty live too. I mean, pretty full. I mean, it's literally straight off the board.
Well, it was a good club. I don't even know if it's still there or not. That was so long ago. But even if it was, I'm sure that they're not entertaining any shows there, at least not now.
Right.
Well, Stevie, obviously, so the dust has been kicked up this week and last week here, and there's been a little bit of an internet rumble, if you will. And, we wanted to have you come on and, tell us what the hell is going on.
I guess it could be summed up pretty simple. I mean, Mitch Lafon overstepped with me multiple times, one too many times, and, 3 times just in the last couple of months. And I had it. I was fed up with him. It's funny. There was a couple incidents that happened when I was in Brazil. I was in Brazil the first week of March, and this thing with the Melodic Rock Fest was starting to fall apart.
Right.
And, you guys have been in this world for a long time as well, and on this end of it, meaning, with a website or a podcast, or, Chris has been a journalist and a writer and contributed and reviewed, and, when we're in this world like we are, we start to get the incoming when something's happening. Hey, did you hear about this? So-and-so got fired. So-and-so quit a band. So-and-so got arrested. So-and-so got a DUI, so the incoming started coming in that this Melodic Rock Fest was falling apart. And I was like, for me, it was a busy week. I was in Brazil. I was rehearsing. I was playing. And it's one thing when a story breaks or something's going on, when you're sitting at home. But when I'm, in a hotel room in a different country and time zones, and, of course, that was happening in Australia, and people are sending me messages. So long story short, I did a couple of stories on it, essentially, championship-winning, award-winning headline, melodic rock fail, the thing turned into what, somebody had said, it's Rock and Skull 2020 down under, and, they lost 16 bands, and they lost the venue, and it went from 3 days to 1, and all that said, Metal Sludge did some stories on it, and Mitch Lafon jumped into the mix and was online, and I made a few notes here and pulled some things up, and so, we do an article and we share it not only on Metal Sludge, but on all the related platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook groups, Gossip Board, et cetera, and then so Mitch jumps in on one of the postings and writes, Andrew Rockfest is not involved with this fiasco. It's not his festival. The assertions made here are incorrect. A separate entity owns the Melodic Rockfest name, not Andrew. Truly unfair journalism. May 7th. Sharing the Metal Sludge article. Now, saying that wasn't enough to do it once, he jumps in again on another part of a different posting. Melodic Rock Fest and Andrew from Melodic Rock sold the naming rights 15 months ago. He's absolutely not involved in this fiasco. The entity that bought the name should be rightfully skewered, not Andrew. And then, of course, there's all kinds of likes and shares and other people making comments. So I see these little digs by Mitch, and I message him, "Hey, Mitch, check it out. I've talked to Andrew about this, just not only in the last week, meaning back, late February, early March. I talked to him last year about it. I have a whole inbox of screen captures. Let me read one to you. July 31st, 2019. Stevie, right. The event definitely reflects my name and my brand, and I am very much involved. Just don't have any interest in financing it. It will be great."
Right.
Okay, I am very much involved. It definitely reflects my name. And aside from this, he went on to say he's picking the bands, he's working as a liaison, he's helping book, he's helping choose, yada, yada, yada. So I blow up Mitch about this, and I said, "Mitch, he is involved. It's his fucking name. Melodic Rock Fest has been Andrew's name for longer than Metal Sludge has been around. Since 1996, 24 years. Every event that's ever happened with the name Melodic Rock Fest, Andrew McNeese has absolutely 100% been involved. We all know that. The whole fucking planet knows that. Every fan that bought a ticket knows that. But Mitch wants to jump in and defend him and say, the assertions here are incorrect. This is false. This is unfair. This is that. So I go back and forth with Andrew, or with Mitch, and at some point, Andrew essentially, or Mitch realized, I'm getting our names mixed up here. They both don't like me. Really don't care. So at some point, we're going back and forth, and I said, "Mitch, this is throwing shade at me. You did so on Twitter and Facebook multiple times now. I guess you won't care if I bring your name into this battle publicly. Since you have put yourself in the mix and have discredited me in a negative way more than once, essentially calling me a liar." And of course, now that we went back and forth, now he replies, "I can delete. Fair? ? I'm not looking to generate a fight with you. Nobody wins, and I actually quite like you. 2 tweets deleted. Now let's go back to promoting rock, bro." And then the follow-up the follow-up message was, "Hey, man, I got an idea. Let's fucking organize a rally to bring down Blabbermouth. Fuck those pricks, those obnoxious assholes. I want to remove the swagger in their steps. Blah, blah, blah." All of this was shared in my article. So at some point, me and Mitch had a couple of heated exchanges, and I was kind of telling him, "Okay, you deleted it, but Mitch, this isn't cool. You're throwing me under the bus." And here's the thing: this wasn't the first time this has happened. This has happened multiple times over the last 10 years. Every time we do an article or a post, he tries to discredit it, take some type of side swipe at me, some kind of a little backhanded, "Well, that's not really what it was. It was actually this way," And so I was busting his ass to say, "Hey, just because you said you delete, it's not all better, quit being a dick, And then he says, "Oh, if you want to go, then bring it on. Let's go." And I said, well, that's it? You're just going to say you delete? You're not even sorry? There's no really an official apology here? And so then he said, "Call me right now." And at some point, we got on the phone, and we had an argument, a long 1-hour loud conversation. This was just about a month and a half ago, middle of March. And so now, a week ago on Sunday, I got some inside information that Brian Howe had passed away. And I put up a story, and I put it up with about 4 or 5 lines. This is breaking news. It's an unfortunate situation. We don't have an exact cause of death. We haven't had an official source confirm it, but this did happen. It's unfortunate. We send our best to the family and the friends of Brian Howe. And,
Right.
of course, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's everywhere. And it's a Sunday night, and nobody has it but Metal Sludge. And it's obviously a big story. It's a big breaking news thing, and it's an unfortunate situation, but it is a story, and it's breaking, and it's going to be out very quickly. And we were the first ones to put it out. So everybody starts sharing it and contacting and tweeting to Eddie Trunk or to Blabbermouth or to Mitch Lafon and trying to get some kind of a additional source to confirm, and nobody could confirm it. And then at some point, Mitch jumps in. It's always more respectful when the family can make some type of announcement before anyone else. So I messaged Mitch and I said, hey, Mitch, what part of my announcement was not respectful? What did I say? What did our article say? What did the 4 or 5 lines that we wrote say that was in any way whatsoever disrespectful? Well,
Why
you know,
is it-
the family
hold
wants...
hold on, Stevie. Why is it any of
Yep.
fucking Mitch Lafon's business? Shut up.
Well, and I was about to go there. So all of these things and the other, the previous post, you know what they have in one thing in common? Mitch wasn't involved. I never mentioned Mitch Lafon. I never mentioned one-on-one with Mitch Lafon. I never mentioned rock talk with Mitch Lafon. His name was nowhere in sight, anywhere. But he felt the need to stick his nose in. No, this is incorrect. No, this is unfair. This is inaccurate. No, he doesn't own it. This is disrespectful. It's like, hold it. Actually, you're wrong about all that. I am correct. I am accurate. It's you that is being inaccurate. It's you that's being unfair and untrue. You're wrong and I'm right. And you're going out of your way to share that negative comment on a public platform. And here's the thing. I told Mitch on the phone, you're not Joe Johnson from Ohio. No, you're Mitch Lafon. You are in some type of a field with Eddie Trunk, with Blabbermouth, with Sleaze Rocks, with Brave Words, with the Classic Metal Show, with Loudwire, Metal Sludge, exactly. So every time I do an article or some kind of post and you somehow want to discredit me or take that away from me, you're being a dick. And here's the thing. I see everybody's posts. I've never seen Mitch Lafon once go, well, hold it, Blabbermouth, that's incorrect. No, Blabbermouth, you're wrong. Hey, Blabbermouth, that's insincere. That's disrespectful when they report somebody's unfortunate passing or such. And I thought, of all the things, it really pissed me off about the Brian Howe thing, because as soon as Mitch said that, then there was the people like, oh, well, Metal Sludge, they're dicks anyways. Well, and then half of them, they didn't even read the article. They just said, oh, what'd they say now? Did they make fun of Brian Howe? And so this guy's unfortunate situation has just come to be, and we've obviously reported as breaking news, and the following morning it's on TMZ, and then it's on CNN and Blabbermouth and everywhere else. But Mitch has to go out of his way to try to publicly post that it's disrespectful what we did. And I was pissed at him. So I started to blow him up. I'm like, Mitch, why are you doing this? Please tell me why you're doing this again. And we just went over this whole thing with the Andrew McNeese. And he got sick of me. He basically just got sick of me and started ignoring me. And I said to him, how am I not respectful? If no family or related told me not to post this, I'll wait for your answer, Mitch. He read it. He didn't reply. I replied again. Mitch, once again, you are shitting on my name and my brand publicly. This is not okay. He didn't reply, but he read my message. I wrote back and I said, all good, noted. That was about 8 or 9 days ago. And then he made some stupid little comments online, and at some point I told him he was being a bitch because of the way he's treated me, and then he came in with his, don't you have an Uber to drive? Which I was like, actually no, I'm not driving tonight. And then I tried to message him and he blocks me. So I thought, okay, you little clown. And then I went in and shared his let's take down Blabbermouth. And, again, like I said in my article, to anybody that wrote it. Some of this is tedious. It's trite. It's tiresome for people to read it. But I'm really just fed up with Mitch taking swipes at Metal Sludge and at me. And, you fuck with the bull, you get the horns. And I think people know me enough by now that, he earned it. And by the incoming I've got, I feel pretty good about the numbers. Mitch is not a very well-liked person in this industry.
No, he's a cunt, period. He's a cunt. I'll say it. I'll say it the way it is. I hate the guy. I absolutely hate him. I couldn't have been happier that you smashed his fucking face.
Chris, I'm going to let you go on. I'm just going to interrupt real quick. What you just said, you're not alone.
You
are not alone. And on the other end of this, no, I won't. I won't share the multiple dozens of people that contacted me, and there's a handful, there's a fistful that are up the food chain way farther than I ever expected would have reached out to me and said, hey there, tough guy. Hey, Sludge boy. You know what? That Lafon had it coming. Keep doing what you're doing. We need someone like you in this industry to clean house once in a while. I back you all the way. Signed, CEO/president of insert name outlet here. And there's a lot of those.
I love it. Dude, if you want to, and I'm not going to say what it is at all, but I'm going to say something, talk about what he tried to do after this went out. And again, I'm going to leave it 100% up to you.
Right.
But what I won't share your news, but I will put it this way. What he tried to do was beyond cunty.
Right. Okay. So then we're basically just going back and forth privately. Okay. Me and Andrew went back privately. Me and Justin Murr at one point with our Rock and Skull issue went back and forth privately. Me and Phil Verone went back and forth privately. But at some point there has to be a line, and there has to be and I was called on. Phil Verone told me, you don't want a war with me. That's his exact words. You don't want a war with me. I was like, who, me? I'm looking. I'm in my room I'm in my office in my chair, looking behind me. Is there someone behind? Are you talking to me? It's like, okay, you just fucking opened up the can right there. And the same thing with Mitch. He was a fucking cunt to me, and so he makes these stupid little comments online. Don't you have an Uber to drive? So I try to reply, and he blocks me. Oh, like whatever. So then I thought, well, this is the platinum of all platinum fucking screen captures. The one where he wanted to basically take down Blabbermouth. Good luck with that, Mitch. And I screen captured not one, but two. There's multiple times when he started the conversation. They're dated. I had no reply to that. It's like, you're a fucking moron. And I screen captured it, and I shared it. And I said, hey, Mitch, by the way, here you go. Let's see if we can rally all your fans to help take Blabbermouth down. Within 10 minutes, I got the little red blinking thing from Facebook that basically said, dear Mr. fucking Stevie Rachelle, we have been, informed of your bullying, of your harassment, and blah, blah, blah. And essentially they removed all my stuff and said, if you so much as fucking blow a whistle at this guy again, we're going to delete all your accounts permanently, deactivate you. And I'm like, really? Okay. So, of course, then I shared it on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm sure he tried to contact them, but, they have a little bit more of a racy edge, and Facebook's a little bit more family friendly. So Facebook obviously pulled my card right away. And, and then I just I started going through my inbox, and then I'm like, oh, that's right, he did this as well. Oh, and then he did that. And I'm going back at, 6 months, a year, he did that. Oh, what a fucking asshole. And I'm getting mad. I'm in my fucking, inbox looking through all these messages from him. All these times I had to call him and, reach out to him and say, hey, Mitch, hey, you're shitting on me again. Can you please fucking move backwards. And so then at one point I just thought, oh, holy shit, he's talking shit about Gene Simmons here, and he's talking about Mitch Malloy from Great White, and Bret Michaels, and Ricky Rocket, and Sebastian Bach, and Rat, and Queensryche, and fucking Kiss, and fucking Def Leppard, and, you know, at some point I'm like, I gotta start screen capturing these, and now I'm putting a folder together, and I'm like, you know, Mitch Lafon, Shit Talk, May 11th, screen capture 27. Okay, screen capture 28. 29. I was like, holy shit, I've got like, now at one point I was up at like 46 of them. I'm like, I don't know. Everyone's gonna, you know, I'm thinking, should I do an article? Should I use all these? And then I'm trying to organize them, and it took me fucking 3 days to even sort all the stuff. And then at one point, you know, I shared with some of my friends. I have some friends like you, Chris, which I didn't share with you. I gave you a little heads up, but I do occasionally share. Hey, I think I've got a good headline. Is this any good? What do you think? You know, I kind of I'll run them past you.
You share that, and you share the filthiest porn I've ever seen.
Right, exactly. So, you know, and then at one point, you know, and I had a few days, and I kind of cooled down, and I'm like, should I do this? And I actually reached out to some friends in the industry, some people that I have respect for, that I'm like, you know, and everybody was like, dude, fucking pull the trigger, you know? And so at one point, I did. So now I pull the trigger, and of course, everybody starts messaging, and it's everywhere, and it's being shared. Of course, I can't share it on Facebook because I'll be deactivated for life. But then the next morning I wake up, and I start getting incoming, and I won't say the exact company names, but some company names related to registration of my domain, of my server, of my site host. Basically, the companies, as Chris knows, that, you know, are intricate in letting the site run and be seen. Right. And Mitch was doing everything in his power to basically try to take my site offline and remove content and edit me. And I did, at some point, get on the phone with some people and, you know, in so many words, exercise, you know, hey, I think you guys would agree, this is my freedom of speech. I think this guy is a two-faced phony. I think he's a fucking asshole. This is my opinion of him. And at some point they, you know, informed me, don't threat any violence, you know, make any threats of violence or insinuate, you know, somebody should be violent towards him or his home address or his phone number. I said, none of that's been done. None of that's been done, you know? And so, yeah, then, you know, for part of last week I had to deal with incoming related to Mitch trying to deactivate my website, deactivate my my opinion, my voice. And again, it's not okay, you know. No. But yet he can go on Facebook and say, you know, no, Metal Sludge is this, Metal Sludge is that, Metal Sludge is disrespectful, this is wrong, that's inaccurate, and take all these little sideways swipes at me. I don't think he's ever said that about Eddie Trunk. I've never seen an Eddie Trunk article where Mitch Lafon went, oh, no, this is wrong. Eddie Trunk is definitely not accurate. This is not authentic information. This is not right. He's never done any of that to Eddie Trunk or to Blabbermouth, at least not publicly, or most of the bands that he talks to. Done a lot of that privately, and that's where at some point I came to the realization that he was two-faced to me, and he was two-faced to a lot of other people. And essentially I played rat, and like I noted in my article, I don't care if I look tacky to certain people. I did what I did. I have zero regrets, and I don't need to be Mitch's friend. I don't need his friendship.
Me either.
I'm fine where I'm at,
dude. We and I told you this on the phone, but we've been through the whole thing with the you know, somebody trying to silence us and get our platforms taken down. And, you know, it's the ultimate bitch move. It is the ultimate bitch. I can't take it, so I'm going to ruin you forever move. It's like, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Insanity, man. So I take it your inbox is finally slowed down or no?
it's slowed down, but the biggest surprise, it was almost like August 2004 all over again when I decided to do what happened between me and Sean, my former partner, and then unveil the fact that I was the guy, one of the guys behind the site, and I was really unsure of what was going to the reaction was going to be. I felt positive that a percentage of people would be on my side, and I knew that there would be a percentage of people that wouldn't be on my side. And when I pulled that trigger back in 2004, 16 years ago, I was seriously shocked and blown away that the overwhelming majority, like 99%, was like, dude, all good. You're a dick, but all good. And it was literally a handful of people that, held a grudge and I think still to this day, Blotzer and Sebastian Bach. But, with this article, I was also very shocked. I really didn't even care what the outcome was going to be. If everybody would have been mad at me, I didn't care. I wanted to expose Mitch for what he had done to me, and I felt what he was doing to other people and wanted him to own it, To my knowledge, he hasn't contacted me. He hasn't said, hey, dude, yeah, I'm a dick. I'm sorry. I fucked up. Can we go backwards again? Which I guess I would laugh at that because he's already done this multiple times. I've shared part of those screen captures where he's like, "Oh, I'll take it down." I'm like, I don't want you to take it down because I'm asking. I'm not asking you to. You're offering. It's just like, don't do it. Don't say things out of the side of your mouth about me. But the reaction was overwhelming. And I received dozens and dozens and dozens of messages from people I know, people I don't really know, people in this industry at all different levels, other website owners and contributors, podcasters, producers, managers, agents, guys that are quote-unquote rock stars up the food chain and various levels, club promoters, other people that Mitch has worked with and obviously shit the bed at some point or another. And I was more surprised that he's just, he's not well liked, at least from what people have told me. I'm babbling now.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, Stevie, obviously you've been doing you've had your Metal Sludge website for what is it, 22 years now?
22 years.
Yeah, almost 22 years. Okay. So, do you? I know it's not quite as active as it used to be in its heyday, but do you still enjoy maintaining that?
I do. It becomes tiresome, but I guess it's like anything. It's like, what's it like to be in, LA Guns for the 34th year, or Tough for the 33rd year, or Motley Crue, or, so it has its ups and downs, but, the site's not been around for that long, and, because nobody likes it, I'm not doing this free. I'm not making the 6-9 stacks of money we were making in the early days. I say that kind of joking, but yeah, there was a point when me and Sean were making a ton of money, and it was funny because we didn't set out to do that. We set out to just have fun, and out of boredom, created this little outlet where people could go meet and talk and share their love of sleazebees or pick Tracy, and it was obviously, as you guys know, it was before any social media existed.
Mm-hmm.
We were years ahead of MySpace, so but yeah, it's the thing is the numbers are down compared to where they used to be because of that. Like right now, everybody has a site, everybody has a podcast, everybody has a platform. And the thing is, where we used to be like, okay, it was like Melodic Rock, KNAC, Metal Sludge, Brave Words, Blabbermouth. Those were like the 5 that were like the metal sites, in the early days that people used to visit for information. But now at some point, all these metalheads created groups on Facebook, or they communicate through Twitter or Instagram, and
God knows whatever, TikTok and this and all these other things, so there's a lot of people that are on those platforms spending time, and they're not on melodic rock or metal sludge or KNAC, Blabbermouth is obviously taken off at another level with I think they got some corporate stuff behind them with Roadrunner, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And, I'm guessing a staff of people to an extent, Metal Sludge is me, myself, and I, and a handful of contributors that get involved. But it's not a full-time thing either. It's like I do this when time permits and when I want. It's like it's not my life, but it's something that I've spent a lot of time with. And Metal Sludge has a specific. What is my word I'm looking for here? It's got a specific purpose, and some of those messages I received this week were kind of enforcing that, saying, hey, dude, keep doing what you do. We need essentially an electronic enforcer like you to call some people out once in a while and do the dirty work, And, Mitch has been that guy. Mitch has been messaging me for years. Some of those I shared those screen captures. Hey, dude, did you see this? Gonna do a story on it? Hey, leave my name out. It's like, okay, yeah, let everybody shit on us for being the bad guy, but thanks for your input, Mitch. So, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys read all 47 of the screen captures, but there's all kinds of that in there.
Yeah, there definitely is. Well, Stevie, aside from the Mitch stuff, which is fun, and I love it. I mean, anytime anybody stomps on that fucking bald head, I'm thrilled. But you...
Hey, watch it with the fucking bald head talk, Chris.
All right, I know you guys. I know you're jealous of me with my flowing locks, but... flowing gut to go with it, but flowing locks. But no, dude, I mean... One of the reasons that this is a part-time thing for you now, Metal Sludge, is because you do stay busy, and you've got, 2 records that are that are in some form of getting ready to come out?
Well, Alex Michael in Munich, Germany, obviously he's the Gene or the Nicky of Shameless. He's actually, he was in studio today. They've been laying tracks for the 8th Shameless studio record, believe it or not. Yeah, so he's in the process of doing that. He's already sent me a handful of songs. Todd T. Burr's done some drums. Adam Hamilton will be involved in some production. The last time we did a record, Alex had a variation of guests. Me and Steve Summers are usually the 2 key vocalists that have been on every record. Last time he had Phil Lewis sing a song. I think Cherie Curry was on a song. At some point over the years, we've had Karabi sing a song. Janie Lane has contributed at points. Chris Holmes, Gilby Clark, Robert Sweet of Stryper, Eric Singer, Bruce Kulick of Kiss. I mean, there's been a ton of guys that have contributed, but the mainstay is Alex on bass, BC Boris on guitar. Those guys are the duo from Germany. Me and Steve usually end up with singing 3 or 4 tracks each, and yeah, so the 8th Shameless record is underway, and I'll probably be singing some tracks here. I probably would have already sang some tracks, but because of all this stuff, going to Adam's studio over here in Woodland Hills and streaming vocals, and he's got a child, and I have kids, and this whole COVID thing's kind of keeping everybody away from each other. So I'll probably be singing at some point later in the summer. And the guys in Brazil with Tales from the Porn, Andy's been throwing tracks around for a while, and we just messaged on WhatsApp the other day. I'll probably be going to Brazil to record some of it this time in Brazil. So the plan is to have 3 songs done here in the next couple months, and at the end of July or August, I will go to Brazil, hang out for a week or 10 days, and cut some vocals, and we'll get a third of the record done. So those 2 projects are kind of underway and going to be happening here shortly.
Perfect. So obviously everybody's been sidelined from being able to perform. Did this affect you? Did you have any shows lined up prior to this whole stay-at-home thing? Or
Not, you know what? Unfortunately for me and for Tough, with like the last year or two has been pretty slow, and I was pretty bummed out because I was hoping we'd be on M3 this year. I was hoping I'd get on a couple of different events, which didn't seem to pan out. But I guess I'm not that super bummed in that aspect for me because now they didn't happen anyways. You know, I mean, I know it's greatly affecting other guys in a much bigger way who tour regularly: Firehouse, LA Guns, Faster, Warrant, Skid Row, Slaughter. You know, those guys they're usually out a couple weekends a month. You know, so they're definitely feeling it. I haven't relied on live show income for a long time. I mean, I usually do 10 or 15 dates a year, and it's usually like 4 to 6 Tough shows and a couple Cheesehead shows, and you know, the stuff with Shameless. That's every other year. You know, sometimes I'll go to Europe, you know, for 10 shows with Alex in the fall or 4 in the spring, and then maybe take a year off, and then, you know, we'll do another thing where there's, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. And the thing in Brazil, I've been there like 4 times just in the last couple of years. Some of those were for Tales from the Porn shows in Curitiba, Jundiaí, Sao Paulo. This last time I went, it was essentially a Tough show, the music of Tough, but it wasn't, you know, an American band. I've used a Brazilian band every time I've went there, except for once I brought Todd, but it wasn't conducive to the finances. And like I started to say in the beginning of this phone call, I was just there in March, so it was weird because all this stuff was starting to kind of ramp up with this coronavirus at the end of February, and my show, my week there was March 2nd through the 9th. So I was kind of a little touch and go, but I did fly down on the 2nd, hung out, rehearsed, did the week, played the weekend, and by Monday the 9th, flew home. Now, when I came home, ironically, I had connected through Peru, and then I got to LAX, and I was thinking, you know, I was looking on the news, they were like quarantining ships and planes, and I was like, fuck, what happens if they take me through customs and then shove me in a hotel in Long Beach for like 2 weeks, you know?
Right.
Sick and shit in my nose every other day. Like, are you sick? It's like, no, I'm fine. Can I go home? Let me go back to the valley, you know? But I got home, got through, everything was fine. Kids are still in school, picking them up, going to do after-school stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then the weekend of the 14th and the 15th, just 5 or 6 days after I got home, is when the shit hit the fan. And then, as a matter of fact, a couple days after I got home is when Peru, of all countries, closed their borders and their airports. And that's, if you guys remember, Dee Schneider was going online. He was kind of freaking out because his daughter was trapped there and he couldn't get her out. And so I literally went through that airport like 5 days before it closed. Had my trip been a couple days later, I might be in Peru right now still, you know?
All right, Stevie. Well, anything else going on with you that you want to let the fans know about?
I'm watching the UFC right now. I know Chris is a fan as well. I got it on in the background, no volume, but I guess there's no crowd to cheer anyways, you know? Right? I mean, watching this in an empty arena, it's kind of a trip, you know? But no, I'm just kicking it in Southern California. Our kids are still homeschooling. They will finish in a couple weeks, and we got to go back to the school, I don't know, like 10 days and return a few books, but most of their schooling is online anyways with laptops, and I don't know, we might have them do a couple summer courses. If they could do summer school, which they've done it the last couple of years, they kind of take a half day for like 3 weeks, and they didn't mind it, you know, to be around their friends more than anything. But at this point, I know when we all grew up, we all were like, fuck school. But now that it's been out for 3 months, they're like missing their friends and, you know, hanging out at lunch and screwing around between classes. So if there's something that we can have them do in the summer that permits them to be around people, other friends, kids for a couple weeks, even like a day camp thing, we might have them do that just so they can have some more interaction. I mean, have each other, but,
Yeah.
everyone's kind of going stir crazy.
All right, Stevie. Well, you're welcome on the show anytime. And we're always glad to hear from you, and glad you're safe and well out there in Southern California. And hopefully this nonsense will get by us and we can get back to rocking, which is what we all like to do. So,
Yeah,
so
I agree. And I thank you guys. I thank you guys for coming on, and make sure to check me out on all the platforms. Stevie Rachelle, Stevie Tough. Use Google, it works fine. Buy my stuff so I don't have to start a GoFundMe. CDs, T-shirts, vinyl, you name it, I got it. eBay, Amazon, Big Cartel, Etsy, it's all out there. Discogs. I have accounts and storefronts on all the major platforms. So
perfect. All right, Stevie, why don't you pick something from the Tough catalog and we'll take us out of the interview. What should we play?
Wow, you have it so it's at your fingertips right now?
I do.
Wow, aren't you? How about Daddy's Money off of Religious Fix?
Okay. We can do that. Got it pulled up, ready to go.
Wow. Amazing. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Neeley. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, The Classic Metal Show, all you guys, all you listeners, everybody. Metal Sludge or Die. Talk to you soon.
All right, here it is. It's Tough with Daddy's Money exclusively here on The Classic Metal Show.
Thanks, man.